Good morning, friends. It is in continuation to previous lecture on recidivism. We have seen the causes of recidivism and we find that there are many causes of recidivism, and therefore in prevention of recidivism these causes play very important role, particularly deficient reformative treatment and social psychology of the offender, habit formation, isolation from the law-abiding group, etc. Now we proceed further and see who are recidivist offenders. Recidivist offenders generally commit certain crimes. All crimes are not repeated. For example, robbery, dacoity, property offenses, kidnapping are more repeated. Whereas studies say that sexual offenses are not repeated in that way. There is less repetition of sexual offenses. Now, what measures we may take to combat habitual criminality or recidivism? Recidivism, if checked, would effectively curb crime in society. First is infliction of pain. According to classical theory, if sufficient pain is inflicted, it may reform the criminal. But it is not true, as it has been found that the deterrent punishment does more harm than treatment or reformation of the criminal. Second is that our second measure may be expiation, penance. At one point of time, it was believed that expiation or penance may reform the person or suppress recidivistic tendencies in the criminal. But such punishment, like solitary confinement, etc., have more damaging effect upon the criminal, and the criminal becomes difficult, abnormal person, or many times it becomes difficult for him to lead normal life in society. Then a third method is that the persons who repeat offenses should be put under surveillance. Putting surveillance is also not very effective, because the person under surveillance face many type of personality problems. It has deleterious effects on him. He is unable to lead normal life, again liability on a society. Then corrective work inside the prison may reform the person, this is suggested. But again there is problem, because researchers have shown that corrective work have failed in reforming the criminal, because they are based on individualized traits. Corrective work should be assigned in meaningful manner, which may have reformative effect on the criminal. That doesn't happen. The result is that corrective work inside the prison fails to produce desired impact on the criminal. It is suggested that criminals should be classified, and then it should be seen who can be stopped from repeating the offenses are reformed. First, innocent criminals. Innocent criminals are those persons who, because of less education, poor background, commit crimes. They can be reformed and their rehabilitation is possible. Second, insane criminals. Insane criminals can also be cured, but not in the prison, but in mental asylum or hospital. Proper treatment may put them back in society and they may lead a responsible life. Then criminal by accident or occasional criminal. Criminal by accident or occasional criminals do not have recidivistic tendencies. They do not repeat crimes and therefore they do not create problem. Then habitual criminals. Habitual criminals cannot be reformed and for them certain measures which we will see a little later have to be taken. White collar criminals, these are business criminals, business crimes, these commit business crimes, they cannot be reformed. However, here one thing may prove to be very effective. First, they commit crime because of their greedy nature and to make more profit. Confiscation of property and punishment of fine may effectively handle white collar criminals, which so far has not been done in effective manner. Last category, political offenders. Political offenders cannot be reformed. Then we come to the measures taken in India. In India, the problem has been tackled in three ways. First, by providing longer punishment in certain situations. Sometimes repeaters are given enhanced punishment, Section 75 IPC. Secondly, by watching the movement of offender. If the habitual offender is kept under watch, his movements are restricted and in this way we can control repetition of crime. Thirdly, by taking preventive action against the habitual offenders, security of good behavior from the recidivist, actual offenders, repeaters. Some measures have also been provided in different laws. In fact, to deal with this problem, habitual offenders acts have been passed. Habitual offender acts have listed many corrective measures. For example, reporting by the habitual offender. The offender reports to the police at fixed intervals in different ways. Second, reporting about residence, where he is residing. If he changes residence, he is to inform the police, the concerned Thana. Thirdly, these acts provide restrictions on their movements. Domiciliary visits, they are placed under domiciliary visits. Though it has a deleterious effect, but no option is there, otherwise they would commit crime. So, domiciliary visits help the law enforcement officials to control, restrict their criminal acts. Then, lastly, externment. Externment means to ask the person to leave the place for certain period. So suppose he is externed from Delhi and asked to leave for 3 months, 4 months, at new place. Roots are not there, though he would take some time in searching his friends, and then there will be interaction between the personalities of such persons. There are chances of reformation. There are chances of curtailing, reducing his criminal activities. Then we come to a point which is often relevant with recidivism as well as reformative theory. We always talk that reformation is possible, but what are the ways? In recidivism, it is said that inadequacies in reformative treatment. Because of that, reformative process remains incomplete. Theory of reformation lacks teeth because of the measures are not implemented in perfect manner. What are that thing? Now, there are various methods of reformation. First, mechanical method. Mechanical method, it has 4 points or 4 heads. First, infliction of pain. Second, meditation. Third, moralizing. And fourth, pledge. Infliction of pain, it is based on classical theory that it believes in the reformation of the criminal by placing him under pains. If the pains are more, the person would be reluctant in committing crime. This method has become obsolete because it is not, strictly speaking, reformative strategy. Secondly, psychological and sociological knowledge both are against employment of this technique in controlling crime. It cannot change the situation responsible for criminality by the criminal person. What is needed is to change the circumstances so that he may not commit crime. What is being done? Infliction of pain on the criminal. It cannot change the circumstances. Then meditation. Meditation, yoga, transcendental meditation has been emphasized, pressed by Justice Krishna Iyer in many cases. It has been employed, and it is believed that by meditation, yoga, etc., a criminal may be reformed. A person commits crime because he fails to think about the consequences of his act. Meditation realizes him goodness and badness of the act, and therefore it would develop the feeling of remorse and repentance, and he would be compelled to think about his future life. But it has been found that penance or remorse sometimes create negative consequences and do not help in the reformation of the criminal. Third is moralizing. Moralizing has been used for reformation of the criminals. Moral teachings, preachings, religious instructions, educative lectures, etc. are given to them so that they may be well informed and may become humble person. They may be reformed, and they are preached in the name of God, in the name of mother, in the name of motherland, etc. It has some effect, but not considerable effect. Then pledge. According to this method, offenders are induced to sign a pledge to make up their mind to reform themselves. Psychologically, this method has not been successful, and even in this country, swearing on pledge, many false statements are made, so reformation does not appear to be an object which can be achieved by it. Then, second method is clinical method. Under the clinical method, reformation is possible if individualized treatment is accorded. That is to say, it is given to the criminal and it is an attempt made to diagnose the cause of criminality on his part. Clinical treatment is like hospital treatment, and criminal is seen as patient, and therefore strategy is developed and it is administered. It regards criminality as a biological disorder or emotional disturbances. The attempt is made to remove these emotional maladjustments. Group relations methods. A person learns behavior. A person learns group behavior, and by that he learns values and other things from the group in which he lives. If his group is changed, certainly values will get changed and he may become a good person. But again, a criminal be reformed by this group counseling does not appear to be very effective method. Some criminals might be reformed by changing the groups, but the problem is that the new group should accept that criminal. Then professional services. The professional services regarding treatment and reformation are of recent origin. The professional workers are trained specifically in the field of crime and delinquency. The professional services are rendered on the basis of various theories of crime and crime causation. In a nutshell, we can say, despite the various methods of reformation of criminal has proved to be a remote idea. The best thing is that, which is often expressed, prevention is better than cure. We should adopt measures for prevention of crime and not curing of criminal. Prevention is better than cure. Here two things are there, and it can be achieved by two methods: general program and community organization. Thank you.